Hi, what's up everybody? Matt DeBerry, dogpost.com. Driving home from Athens where the Dogs beat Carolina 24-14 yesterday. But on Friday night, I went out, covered some high school football, went to see a Georgia commit, 4-star running back Dwight Phillips Jr., who was one of the fastest players in the country. His dad was an Olympian. This kid has easy track speed, and he's got speed that is seriously lacking in Georgia's running back room right now. We've talked about it for a while. Georgia's got some bruisers on the roster currently, and Daijun Edwards being back is key. He brings you some explosiveness, maybe one or two explosive runs a game. Dwight Phillips Jr. can take off anytime he's got the ball in space and pick up big time yards. Unfortunately, we didn't really get to see that on Friday night against a really talented and stout Denmark defense. The Pebblebrook offensive line is not very good. The quarterback is not very good. And Dwight Phillips Jr. is still coming back from an injury. He barely played the week before. He played throughout this game, but I mean, his ankle was wrapped up. You could tell he was not 100%. So we didn't get, any 70, 80-yard touchdown runs. Drive your car. Unbelievable. But he was still the best player on the team, and that was easy to see. He showed some burst. You could see that burst and that quickness, even though he was banged up. And there were a couple times where he got hit pretty hard and stayed on the ground for a little bit and kind of gingerly walked off the field. And I said, okay, dude, I mean, just sit out for a little bit. You're obviously not 100%. You don't need to get back in this ball game. And you can see the fire and the passion that he plays with. He didn't care. He wanted to be out there. He wanted to play. I think overall, he probably rushed for about 50, 60 yards. He had maybe one run in that 20-plus range. I think there was one play where he almost did break off his 60-yard touchdown run. He was barely tripped up, and I think I have enough clips in this video to give you some idea of how he was bottled up. There were just nowhere really to run, and they tried to get him on the edge in some space. The blocking just wasn't there. I don't want to say he's a small guy. He's smaller than the guys that are in Georgia's running back room right now, and he's smaller than the other two committed, but he plays bigger than his size. He tried moving the pile here and there, but overall, this was more about the Denmark defense doing a great job playing physical and eliminating those run lanes than it was of him not being a good player. And I say this a lot, when I go watch a Georgia commitment, I have the highest expectations, because Georgia's coming off 2 national championships. I know what a number one class looks like. I've covered, I think, 2 number one classes right now. I know the type of player it takes to, be a number one prospect and go to a team that is winning championships. He has elite speed. That's easy to see, even though he was still banged up. I wish he was 100%, and maybe we could have seen these long touchdown runs that he's made in the past. This is not just a fast kid who's learning how to play football. I really think this kid knows how to play running back. He has the vision. He hits the hole when it's there. He gets it. He's a natural with the ball in his hands. He runs straight really fast, but he's got some shiftiness to him as well. He can make guys miss. He can put his foot in the ground and take off up the field, but he still has to have the blocking to do that, and Pebblebrook just doesn't have it. I mean, they stunk offensively. I left the game before it ended. I had other stuff I had to do, but they were getting shut out in the fourth quarter. I think they did score 7 points, but Denmark won the game. They played outstanding defensively and didn't let him break off any type of big run. But you could still see that, okay, Georgia could use this kid. Georgia could use this speed and that quickness. And they just don't have any home run hitters on the roster right now. Dylan Bell could break off a big type of run. We haven't really seen it yet, but he's got 2 rushing touchdowns in the last 2 games and shows some burst and explosiveness. And so does Daijun Edwards to a certain extent. Not DeAndre Swift-like or Sony Michel-like or Todd Gurley-like, but he can get upfield in a hurry. Daijun Edwards is just crafty. He is a crafty runner who runs with balance, who can run between the tackles, runs with toughness. He's a different type of back, and he runs with power, and he runs aggressive and mean. and he can still make a guy miss and get upfield and get yards after contact. They don't have a burner on the roster running back. Dwight Phillips Jr. is a burner, and he's got it. If you can get him the ball in space, if you can execute a screen, if you can execute a toss sweep or the correct zone read and get him out with some blockers in front of him, it doesn't take much for him to take off down the sideline. And when he's in the open field, he's tough to corral, and you're not running this guy down. If he gets a running start, and it's so tough to run him down. I don't think there's any defender in the state of Georgia right now who can run him down from behind, and there's not many guys who are going to be able to do it in college. So Dwight Phillips Jr., not a lot to show as far as statistics go. He probably rushed the ball 10 to 12 times for probably a little over 60 yards. He had a nice run here or there, but most of the time there just wasn't anywhere for him to go, and I don't think they did a great job of being creative and trying to get him the ball in different ways, and they lost the game. But the speed is there, and I think he's like a 4.3 guy. He's got a great time in the 100-meter. I don't know exactly what it is, but running backs don't run just straight, right? I get that. He's going to have to be a running back and not a track guy out there when he gets to Athens, but I do think he knows how to play the position. So, in my opinion, he is a solid 4-star running back with track speed. He's not a track guy trying to play football, but he can follow his blocks, and he can put his foot in the ground and make guys miss. And he's got some shiftiness and some elusiveness to his game. He's dangerous in the open field, and he can zigzag for a touchdown. He's not Brandon Smith, right? If you remember him from the 2009 team and 10 team, I think he was in that 08 class, but he was a straight line guy. Keith Marshall was kind of the same way too. Not a whole lot of shake and bake. Occasionally he would make a guy miss, but for the most part, Keith Marshall had to be running straight to see his speed. I think Dwight Phillips Jr. is a little different, but he's a guy they could use on the roster right now. I think 100% healthy Dwight Phillips Jr. would. He's a guy Del McGee would love. That's how I would say it. He's going to be a difference maker. I really believe that, but can they get the ball to him enough in space? Can they use him as a weapon? He's not an every down back. He might just be kind of a third down back or the screen back, right? I mean, Georgia was rotating so many backs yesterday. I felt like there were 3 or 4 backs on the first drive alone. Eventually, they just kind of handed the ball off to Dejan Edwards and Dylan Bell and a little bit of Cash Jones and said, okay, y'all are the guys we're going to have to lean on if we're going to win this game. They did, but occasionally, yeah, you would love to throw a guy like Dwight Phillips Jr. out there who can play in the slot. He's got some versatility to his game as well. He can catch some passes. But yeah, I'm sure they are probably thinking at times, we've got to have more explosiveness. I wish we had a guy like Dwight Phillips Jr. He'll be there next year. He'll just be a freshman, so he's not a guy you can really rely on play after play after play. Excuse me, but he's a speed back. He's a track guy who knows what he's doing as far as playing the running back position. We talked more about the quarterback, right? You need a guy with a rocket arm, but he has to know what he's doing, and he has to take care of the football, and he has to be able to, settle in the pocket while looking downfield and getting to your second and third read and making the smart decision. You don't have to do a whole lot of that at running back, but you still have to follow your blocks. You still have to understand how the play is supposed to develop, and when to cut it inside and when to continue taking it out to the edge when you have it. And they tried to get it to the edge with Dwight Phillips Jr. 2 nights ago. Just couldn't get it done. Listen, sign up to that newsletter. It's free. It's down below. I should have mentioned that earlier in this video. That's okay. It's free. It's free to sign up. We got a lot of free stories. So if you're enjoying these videos, we want you to go over to Dog Post, because there's a lot more over on Dog Post than there is, of course, on this YouTube channel. So the link's down below. Sign up to our free newsletter. Get an email every day. Really appreciate y'all doing that. We love to see more people on Dog Post. It's blowing up. The site's doing great, especially on game days. There was a very interesting thread going on there in South Carolina, but yeah, we're fully into high school football season, college season. We're in it now. We are in it. Still trying to figure out what these 2023 Georgia Bulldogs are. But they're 3-0. UAB this upcoming weekend should be a game where they can start to clean things up. You want to get those things cleaned up by the time you go to Auburn and play Kentucky and the Gators. Lots to fix. Maybe they do it against UAB. Guys, thanks for watching this video. Always appreciate it. And I will see you over on Dog Post.